We're going to open it up with our Sergeant at Arms, Miss Bibi Fernandez. Her three power words are creativity, transformation, and persistence. Her favorite quote is, when you do things from your soul, you feel a river of joy within you. Bibi Fernandez.
Thank you so much. I am so happy to be Sergeant at Arms, and here I will share the club mission statement. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which our members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater confidence and personal growth. Your voice is powerful. SSA's goal is getting paid for what you say. Our theme is we rise by lifting others. We are a team, TEAM, where together everyone accomplishes more. Our masterclass ethics for tonight, please mute when you are not speaking. Please be courteous and do not post anything in the chat during speeches except when asked by the speaker. And then finally, please let our masterclass speaker know 3 things you liked best about the presentation in the chat when the session is finished. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bibi. We appreciate you. Our invocation is Sean Premnath from Australia. His 3 power words are clarity, confidence, and creativity. His favorite quote is, creativity is sparked by curiosity, and change comes when we dare to try. His own personal quote. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you so much. Well, good morning from my side of town in Sydney, Australia, and good evening to all of you on the other side of the globe, as I would say. I like to take a quote from one of my favorite speakers that I love. It's actually Eric Thomas, or most of you might know E.T., the hip-hop preacher. And one of the statements that he said was, be phenomenal or be forgotten. And I think of that word as not as a slogan, but as a standard. To be phenomenal means refusing to settle for average. It means when the world takes the easy route, and ingenuity when circumstances demand a new way forward. It means pushing the envelope in how we communicate, how we serve, and how we show up in business and in life. And today, we are here to sharpen those tools. We'll learn from our guest speaker how to craft a positioning statement that makes our message unforgettable. We'll learn how to identify the right markets because growth is faster when we aim with attention. We'll learn how to negotiate with confidence and multiply our income through revenue streams. We'll learn how AI can expand our content and creativity. And we'll learn how thoughtful aftercare turns one opportunity into many. These are the very strategies that have helped speakers and entrepreneurs remain relevant, profitable, and yes, phenomenal. So as we begin, let us set our intention to stretch beyond what's comfortable, to lead with imagination, not imitation, to build our businesses, our speeches, and our impact with courage. Because in a world overflowing with noise, ordinary disappears, but the phenomenal stand out. May we be bold, may we grow, and may we make today unforgettable. Back to you, Christine.
Excellent. Powerful. We sure do appreciate you. Now, what we're going to do is get on with a couple of quick announcements, and then we are on with the show. We have definitely a portion that I am the Vice President of Education and the co-founder of Superior Speakers. My positive words are passionate, positive, and persistent. Set yourself free, live in the present, dream for the future, and experience the magic of new beginnings. Now, why Superior Speakers? We have so many benefits. You can just go to superiorspeakers.org. We have some wonderful chat monitors helping you today. And if you have any questions, just click in the chat. There are so many benefits I cannot say enough. And one of them is having masterclass, globally known speakers to teach us how to do this right. and to be successful at it. We have an incredible woman tonight. I'll introduce very quickly, and she will take over for the rest of the night. We have a very phenomenal advanced executive board. We meet weekly. And yes, you are all discussed. How can we make this better for you to reach your goals and dreams? It is an amazing board to work with. And the requirements are basically desire to become a professional paid speaker, be a team builder with a positive attitude, one Toastmaster pathway completed before you join, and you must belong to another Toastmaster club. So stay in your day job club and just join us for the advanced. This is a master class and going on to PhD. And then our club dues are pay 6 months up front for everything you get. And this is just a fraction. It's only $10 a month. That's better than college credits, right? That you have to pay for. But right now, let's get to the main thing here, the main presentation. We are booking more business, growing your business in a competitive market. Let me tell you a little bit about Lois. She has so much that I can read about her, but she wrote something quick because she has a lot of time she wants to spend with us. Would you like to be able to use one sentence to describe what you do? Do you wish you could wave that magic wand and make your marketing and selling easier? Do you want to always approach prospects in a powerful, compelling way? Our presenter, she has written an updated, hot off the press edition of her original book on speaking, Book More Business, Make More Money Speaking. Several NSA chapters have adopted this as curriculum for speaker academics, and she's worked in the speaking industry for over 20 years, and not only presents for NSA, but for the Global Speakers Federation in the United Kingdom, Scotland, Australia, and India. And in 2021, she was awarded honorary fellow by the Professional Speakers Association, United Kingdom, and Ireland. Her entrepreneurial journey began with a dog walking business at age 11. And she's an avid reader and has a rescue dog, Gigi, for an intern. Helping us learn how to book more business and grow our business, join me with a large welcome for Lois Kramer.
Thank you so much, Christine. How nice. Great introduction. And I want to thank my friend Cheryl Roche. You know, I always do what she tells me to do. And she said, when you approached me, that I need to do this. So I'm here with you today. Thank you, Cheryl. It is good to see you, my friend. It's been too long since we've seen each other in person. I think I was blonde maybe when you saw me last time in person. that was a while ago, but it's great to see you tonight. And Rich Hopkins, good to see you. Peter Palmer, good to see you. I have friends in the room tonight. But we're all friends because we all have a single purpose and a single interest here tonight. And I'm a big fan of Toastmasters. It is the thing I always recommend for people who are serious about speaking, that they get involved in a Toastmaster group. I think that you're nuts if you don't take advantage of the kinds of things that you can learn at Toastmasters. And before we went on tonight, I was telling Christine that at an NSA, National Speakers Association convention, a number of years ago, we gave the Master of Influence Award to the head of Toastmasters International worldwide. And I had a few minutes to talk to him. And I said, I wish there was a Toastmasters in every middle school, high school, and college in this country. I think that it certainly would serve kids as they grow into what they want to do as adults. But we're here tonight to talk about professional speaking. And I have a definition of professional speaking that I use that might be a little different than one that you use. My definition of professional speaking is this. It's a sales job where you occasionally get to speak. And the reason I say that is this. You can have the best message in the world, the most important message in the world, and it will go unheard if you can't sell it. That's the reality. We work so hard for every platform that we get paid to present on, and go through a lot of work. And so tonight we're going to talk about how to position yourself to be paid. And if you're being paid, maybe how to position yourself to make more money in your speaking practice. I think it's very important. I will share with you that I started my speaking business based on one thing, based upon my sense that most professional speakers really sucked when answering the question, what do you do? Because my experience was that most professional speakers said, I speak on sales, I speak on leadership, I speak on communication, I speak on. And for me, that's not a great way to promote yourself. It's not a powerful way to position yourself in front of a buyer. And that's what I'm interested in. What kind of perception are we putting out there? What's the lens that we're creating through which people are going to see us and understand what we do? And so my take was that I created what I call a concept and outcome statement of working with you, that I call a positioning statement. It's chapter 3 in my book. It's the reason I started my business. And so I could say, for example, I'm a consultant in the speaking industry, which is really true. And I speak in the speaking industry. By the way, I used to speak on sales to corporations and associations. I don't do that anymore. The only speaking I now do are to groups of professional speakers, mostly in associations and around the world. But I could say I'm a consultant in the speaking industry, which is true. But isn't it kind of like saying I speak on sales? I gave you a way I do what I do, consulting, and I gave you a topic. And that's just not the best way to promote yourself. So, and notice, I have to tell you that I also would share with you all that I don't think you're speakers. I say we're purveyors of intellectual property. That's the business we're in. We're in the intellectual property business. And speaking is just one of the ways that you drive that intellectual property to the market. And we're going to talk tonight about some other ways that you can use to repurpose that speech to take that IP and get paid for it. Because I think it's incredibly important. I understand it was actually before my time that you used to be able to get on a plane, speak, go back to your office, get on another plane, speak. It's not a business model that works today. That's the reality of it. If it's working for you, I would go get a lottery ticket because you're lucky. I've had too many cancellations, sat in too many airports for too long the last couple of years, and heaven only knows what it's like now. I shared before we went on that I had a couple of events in the last month where I spoke in Louisville and in Chicago. I'm in St. Louis. I drove to both. And I was thrilled to drive to both, I have to tell you. But positioning statement, concept and outcome of working with you. So my positioning statement is this. I work with speakers, consultants, and experts who want to book more business, make more money, and monetize their message. I work with speakers, consultants, and experts who want to book more business, make more money, and monetize their message. Now, isn't that better than I'm a consultant in the speaking industry? Because I really gave you outcomes. I gave you concepts and outcomes. And I'm going to use the positioning statement I used when I had my sales business, because it's more akin to what I want you to create. And this is what I said for it. And I want you to notice how simple this is. I called my enterprise fast forward selling. And I said, I work with organizations that want to fast forward their selling skills so they'll be better at what they do. Pretty simple. I say 7 seconds or less. You're over talking if it's more than 7 seconds. And we've all heard of elevator speeches, which are typically defined 30 to 60 seconds. I have to tell you, if you have no interest in what I'm talking about, that can seem like 30 to 60 years. Plus, I have never attended a speech in an elevator nor given speech in an elevator. 7 seconds or less. And let me tell you what happens when you give your positioning statement. When I say I work with organizations that want to fast forward their selling skills so they'll be better at what they do, I do something very important after that. I shut my mouth. and I wait to hear what the response is. And typically the response is one of three things. I'm going to play it out for you. First is, how do you do that? Thanks for asking, because I always am honored when anyone has an interest in anything that I do. I say, thanks for asking. I do it through my speaking, consulting, coaching, writing. I'm an author, through my course, through my private membership group, all of the different ways that I take my intellectual property to the market. The second most likely response would be, tell me more about that. Thanks for asking. I work with associations and corporations who want to sharpen their selling skills so that they can increase profits and whatever. The third most likely answer, sometimes we hear, especially when we're in person networking. And here it is, and see if you can guess what this means. How nice for you. We all know what that means. What that means is they have no interest in what we do. And I say, that's a good thing to know. I want to know if you have no interest. And here's why. I think our number one job is to be a good steward of the amount of time we have to proactively market ourselves. I don't want to waste my time. I also don't want to waste your time. So if I'm not a fit and you say, how nice for me, I'm going to say, thanks for your interest. Doesn't sound like you're a good fit for me. I appreciate your time, and I'm going to move on. And, you know, I am looking for that kind of response whenever I'm prospecting. If I am approaching a company about doing a sales organization and they say, you know, we have never used a professional speaker. I'll share with you, right out of college, I went to work for at that time, it was a Fortune 10 corporation, United States Steel Corporation, in marketing and sales. And they did some sales training with me. They spent money on me doing sales training. And some of that sales training would tell me to reply, well, you may have never used anyone or brought anyone in before, but you ought to think about using me. That is not my response. My response is, thanks for taking the time to talk to me. I'm probably not a fit. Because I doubt whether somebody's going to pay me thousands of dollars to come in and they've never done it before. So I'm going to move on to more fertile fields. And I say one of the most important things that you have to discover with your particular expertise is it marketable? Whenever I work with a professional speaker, the first thing I have to ascertain is what they want to do marketable. Who has a history of buying this? What kinds of groups, but what do they pay? What speakers have presented there before? What are their programs like? This is all easy to find now, especially with AI. I can go into ChatGPT 5 and put in a description and find out who my competitors are. I can put in the chat, I'm a professional speaker and I speak on sales and marketing. And I'm wondering who are the top 20 sales and marketing speakers. Where are they speaking? What are they being paid? And is there a common thread in the 20? It's all about the prompt in AI. It's all about the prompt. So now it's easier than ever to do market intelligence for whether your market's going to pay you or not. I have talked over the years, it won't surprise you, with some people who say, well, I have a program no one has ever heard before. And I'm known for being blunt. Cheryl knows this. Cheryl knows this. I feel like I'm apologizing in advance for being blunt. But let me share with you that when somebody says, I have something so new and innovative, it's never been done before. And I always begin my answer with this sentence, with all due respect. You probably aren't going to be the first one to do it unless you have a trust fund that will support you while you try and market and sell this. Okay. Let's go back to positioning statements. Here is the template that I want you to play with. Okay. And by the way, this is the first thing I work on when I work with individual clients, is a positioning statement, because you must be able to answer the question, what do you do? And once you feel confident in that answer, you are going to feel so relieved and so comfortable in approaching people and looking for opportunities. So here's the template. I work with organizations that want to blank in order to be able to blank. I work with organizations that want to blank in order to be able to blank. And you can see how my sales fit in there. I work with organizations that want to fast forward their selling skills so they'll be more effective at what they do. I want you to realize this about a great positioning statement. Thank you, Tonya. I want you to realize this about a great positioning statement. It's not the definition of you. It does not let everybody know everything that you do. It is a door opener. It's a conversation starter. I want to get in and see, does this resonate with you? Because if it doesn't, I'm out. And I'm going to let you mercifully out. And so a great positioning statement should be short, sweet, to the point, give a concept and an outcome of working with you. And let me say that all of my clients are mostly business speakers who work in corporations, companies, and associations. And the main outcomes that businesses are interested in are the following: increased profits, performance, productivity, engagement, or shareholder value. And we're probably not going to be able to affect shareholder value as much as we might want to think we can. So when you can speak to some of those outcomes, then it becomes very interesting for the listener. They start thinking, with a great positioning statement, they start thinking aspirationally about bringing you in. So if I said I work with organizations that want to fast forward their selling skills so they can be better at what they do, if my friend Cheryl is a decision maker, Cheryl may be thinking, wow, what would it look like if we could do that? What would it look like if my sales team got better at doing that? And that's exactly where we want them. That's exactly where we want them. Does anybody want to take a stab at a positioning statement with me? This is free consulting, by the way. Christine won't let me invoice you, so I won't invoice you. This is free consulting. Anybody want to take my template and play with it? I'm just going to give you a quick hot minute to unmute and talk to me.
Lois, can you give us the list of what is those outcomes? What are the
Yes.
And please?
Yes. Profits, productivity, performance, profits, productivity, performance, and shareholder value was the last one.
We had somebody ask a question. Their message focuses on identity, healing, and purpose. That sounds like the perfect person to work through their positioning statement. Who was it that asked that question?
Let me look that up pretty quick.
I don't know. Well, maybe somebody else who has
Anybody else, or we'll just move on. Yeah.
I'll do it.
See.
Please go ahead.
So based on what I do, right? Is that what the question, right? I would
Based
say,
on what you want to sell, my friend.
so I've been rebranding myself, and I would say that I do global innovation and legacy architecture, helping people to think more about purpose and investing in their employees and thinking more, less profits, more purpose. And how can we leave a succession plan? How can we leave a legacy?
Okay, I want you to put it in a positioning statement. I work with organizations that want to blank so that they can blank.
Okay, so I work with organizations and leaders that want to boldly innovate, create the future, and leave a lasting legacy.
Okay. So that they can what?
So they can leave their mark in the marketplace.
Something more. Speak to me. If I am the owner of a business, I like the part about legacy building. I think that, what leader would not like that?
Yeah,
Alexi.
and then for most of my thought process, I just got through innovation, and the Fortune 500 came out in 1957. So the original 500, only 50 are still on that list.
Interesting.
So how can we make sure that you're not getting washed out? and making
You know
sure you're
what?
changing with the times.
What you just said is a great story for you to say from the platform. It's
Okay.
a challenge to leaders, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a challenge to leaders to stay relevant. And, listen, I want you to work on this a little bit more. I work with organizations that want to use creativity and innovation in order to blank, blank, and blank, or in order to blank and blank. Does that make sense? You don't have to do it right now, but this is what I want you to do when we're done. I want you to think about something like that, because I totally agree with you. And in your sales talk, after your positioning statement, tell that story that you just told me about the top 50.
Yeah.
Because I think that can make me think, wow, what can I do in order to get in that top 50 or get in the top 1,000, for God's sakes, whatever it is. But I think that you are on the absolute right course, Alexi.
So I would say that want to adapt with the changing times and leave a legacy that lasts longer than them, right?
Yeah, or you might want to not just adapt. You might want to say who want to stay ahead of the curve or want to be market leaders, who want to stay ahead of the competition by.
Okay.
And you might even want to put in there by creating thought leadership within their organization, something like that. Thought leaders are people that we think stay ahead of the curve. So adapting is too bland. I want you to challenge them to be innovative, creative, and create the path, build the road.
Pioneer your industry.
Yes, exactly.
Because I
Very
like
good, my friend.
trailblazers, but like not everyone sees trailblazing as like I guess professional word. So I say pioneer, I guess, pioneer and lead your industry or something.
I would say who want to be industry leaders,
Industry leaders, okay.
something like that. All right, I want that your homework will be to work on that. We'll do
Okay,
one more, Megan, or we'll do two more. Megan.
Shall I do, Lois?
I
Dr.
help.
Jason.
I think Megan
Yeah.
had her hand up, so let's
Yes.
go with Megan.
Yes. I help leaders to connect effectively
Stop,
with
stop. We don't help.
Okay.
This is really important. This is really important, and I didn't emphasize this, so thank you for letting me do that. Help is a very benign word. I say volunteers help. We want to be paid, we work. So I want you to say, I work with.
Okay. I
Thank
work
you.
with leaders to connect effectively with their teams to increase productivity, thereby increasing profit.
I think, I think I'd say who want to increase profits and productivity.
Okay.
Take out the thereby. Here's one of the things, Megan. I say that a great positioning statement should sound like you and I are having coffee and you're telling me what you do. I have never had coffee with someone and said, thereby. That's just never come into my vocabulary. So I want you to really think, how can I make this so conversational
Yes.
that it doesn't sound like I've memorized it or I've read it?
Right.
And start with, I work with, but I like it. I think it's very good.
Thank you. Thank
One
you.
more, Sean.
Yes. So I had. Yep. So my one is I work with organizations that want to be creative in their decision making in order to set the standard in their industry.
Is there a particular industry you work with, Sean?
I'm in the creative industry, so music.
Okay, say it again. I wanted that in my mind as you said this.
Sure. I work with organizations that want to be creative in their decision making in order to set the standard in their industry.
I like it. I think it says exactly what it is. And I also think it's very conversational.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You didn't make it hard for me, Sean. But this, here's the interesting thing with positioning statements. My homework for each one of you is to go out and create this positioning statement. And I'm going to give you a tip now, but you can't share it with anybody. I'm looking to see if anybody's sneaking into the room to listen to me. Don't share this with anybody. I want you to take the positioning statement that you come up with tonight. I want you to put it in ChatGPT. And I want you to say, help me create a positioning statement using Lois Kramer's work on positioning. and it will actually give you an incarnation based on my template. And that is because all of my intellectual property is in ChatGPT. I've got a program I'm going to talk to you later about to see how what you can do with AI. But I've created a program using AI that involved me dumping my books. I've written 3 books. I've given a number of speeches over the years. I put tapes of speeches in there. I've put Zoom calls that I've had with consulting calls in there. It knows me very well. And in fact, here's another secret, but don't. Soon there's going to be a bot on my website called Ask Lois Kramer. And you can ask me anything, and it will give you the answer as if you're talking to me. And so this is how AI has been transforming the speaking business. It has totally transformed it. And I'm going to put that in the parking lot for a minute because I want to talk about that in a little bit. But I think it's going to be very important. Yeah, Tonya.
Okay, so this is what I got. Write your positioning statement, then put it in ChatGPT and ask it to what?
Use Lois Kramer's template.
Okay.
On positioning and say, give me three shots at it. And then here's the thing that I have learned for making ChatGPT really work for you folks. It's don't type it. Don't type your question in. Ask it. Click the microphone in the bar where you usually type your ask. Click the microphone, because when you start doing it conversationally, your prompts become better. And then if it gives you 3 and you don't like them, say, give me 3 more, give me 3 more, give me this without, and emphasize profits and productivity. Be in conversation with it. I treat my AI chat like it's an assistant or a researcher for me, and stay in conversation. It makes a big difference. It makes a big difference.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So positioning statement. I want you, when you leave here, come up with something. The next piece of homework is when you decide on something that you like, I want you to say it 100 times a day for a week. I don't want you to say it 100 times for a week. I want you to say it 100 times a day for a week. When you do this, you say it without hesitating, without sounding like I'm reading it or even that it's memorized. It sounds like this is my DNA. And that is the key. I'll tell you, when I started my business, Book More Business, my positioning statement was, I work with speakers who want to book more business and make more money. And I got clients based on that. And I got clients based upon the fact that they believed me when I said it. Because I was confident when saying it, because I repeated it 100 times a day for a week. So think about that. You can even leave yourself a voicemail and see how it sounds to you. But a great positioning statement can be transformational in your business. As I said, I think it's one of the most important things that I work on with clients. And, I'll tell you, I have clients who come to me, a lot of people who have been speaking for a number of years. And I'll say, well, the first thing I like to look at is a positioning statement. And they will say, well, I already have one that I like. And I say, with all due respect, by the way, whenever I say with all due respect, something's coming. Okay. When I always say, with all due respect, I'm going to be the judge of that. You don't have to take my advice, but I want to hear what it is, and I want to be the judge of whether I think that's going to fly. My market intelligence are 25 years of speakers who are out there doing this. And they're telling me what works and what doesn't. That's my market intelligence. It's pretty good. It's pretty good at this point. So I want to move on to something that I think is key. And let me say I'm going to share what I call a one sheet. Cheryl is very good at this stuff. A core offering sheet is what I call it. And I'm going to share the template. Tonya is going to share it when we're done. So you will all have this. So don't think I've got to take a picture of it. You can always take a picture of it, but you're going to get it. This is what I work on. Well, of course, it's not up here now that I want it, but we're going to get it up here really fast. this is what I use to work on with clients. I use mine, and this is my core offering sheet. And I want you to notice before we jump into it, I want you to notice how much white space. The font is not small, and everything is compartmentalized, right? That's because people actually read things that are compartmentalized. People actually read things that are set apart in sections and bullets. So the most important part of this is the upper left-hand corner, because that's how people read, left to right. So this is my positioning statement. I am setting the tone for what follows. Then your eyes naturally go right. And where I have Grow Your Business, this is my consulting sheet, you're going to put your speech title. If you have 2 speeches, you'll have 2 speech titles with bullets. Don't have more than 3. You can put some additional ones if you want to on your website. But let me tell you this about number of speeches. And this is important. I want you to hear this. I love the Cheesecake Factory. But you know what I don't like about the Cheesecake Factory? When I go, they give me a menu that is 180 items, and the menu weighs about 2 pounds. I'm not willing to put myself through a 2-pound menu with 180 options. So I typically order the same thing every time because I'm there for the cheesecake anyway. Okay? Don't be the Cheesecake Factory to your prospects and clients. The more choices you offer, the more confused the buyer becomes, and they will move on to somebody who offers fewer choices. I worked with a new client a couple of weeks ago, and I said, "How many speeches do you have?" He said, "I have 8." And I said, "Well, I'm going to freeze the screen here. I'll be right back. I need to go take some aspirin before we talk about this." He was totally confusing. He was making himself hard to buy. Less is more. Okay. So eyes right, you'll have a speech title, and then these are all bulleted outcome statements, content statements, but they become outcomes when you begin with a verb or an action word: develop, create, identify, utilize, counter, leverage. And here's what I want you to hear too. The people who hire you are not hiring you for a speech. They're hiring you for the outcomes, the transformation that you bring. They're hiring you for what their people are going to do differently when they get up out of their seats and go back to their office or cubicles or wherever they're going after you speak. What are they going to do differently as a result of spending time with you? So these are the outcome statements, and I want you to pay attention to them. Use an economy of words when you can, because remember, this just sets you up for success. And by the way, this becomes something else. This becomes my script that I have in front of me when I'm talking to a prospect, because I'm going to tell them what I do, and I'm going to tell them a little bit about my program, and I'm going to speak using these content statements. I'm going to say, so in this program, if you think that might be a fit, I talk about things, how to develop this, create this, leverage this. Suddenly, these start becoming aspirational again, okay? So then your eyes go left, and these are what clients have to say. I'm working with speakers, so I want to have speakers' names on mine. I want you to have a name and an organization. That's what you should have: name and a company, or as an association if it's not a company. And then your eyes go right, and I want you to see this little thing. I call this a blurb, by the way, underneath the bullets. Many people make this a bio. I don't want it to be a bio. And here's why I don't want it to be a bio: because people don't care. At this point, they don't care about our background. They want to know, what can you do for me? This is all client-centric. It's all about them. What can you do for me? So this is just a few sentences of credibility. Now, I could have started this with, Lois Kramer was born in a small suburb of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And wouldn't you just run screaming for the door? You don't care. Now, They will read your bio on your website before they sign a check. Trust me. They will do due diligence. But at this point, I'm just managing perceptions. Okay. So here's the flow. This is what I do. Eyes right. This is how I do what I just said I did. Eyes left. Here are people that I've done it for and what their experience was working with me. Here's why you should choose me to do this thing instead of somebody else. And here's how to get a hold of me. So that's the flow of this. Yeah, Tonya.
Okay, we can't ignore the testimonial from Gail.
Yeah, it's my favorite testimonial.
It would be mine too.
You know, I put this on here because I like to have fun when I work. And I mean, God forbid somebody smile or laugh when they're working with me. So that's why I put that on. Yeah, I love that. It's still my favorite one.
We have a question from Tamisha Walker. If you're working with an organization where their language goes right to left, should you switch it around?
Okay, I don't know what that means.
Like in Japan, don't you read?
Oh, I get you. I get you. Yes, you probably should. I would put it in the order that I'm giving it to you, because that typically is what drives interest. What do you do? How do you do it? Who have you done it for? Why should I choose you to do it? How do I get a hold of you? So yes. And then because things are double-sided, because we're usually sending this via PDF, I'm putting my flagship book for my business on here. I'm pulled out some nice things people have said about that book because I want to manage your perception when you're thinking about my book. And then I'm kind of known for these. These are the questions you need to ask people who are interested in bringing you in order to ascertain fit. These are some of the questions that you'll want to ask in order to understand whether you're a fit for what they want to accomplish. That's also another chapter in my book. So that is, we're going to share that at the end of the program. You can print that out. You can do whatever you want to with it. But I actually studied this, probably longer. It would just bore you to death. It didn't bore me to death. I wanted to know how people liked to digest this kind of information. And that's how I created this pattern. And there may still be a couple of speaker bureaus that work with professional speakers who ask anyone who wants to be represented by them to use my form when creating a core offering sheet, because it allows agents to actually talk about you like they know you. If I gave my friend Christine this core offering sheet, she could talk about me like she knew me, even if she didn't, because she's telling them what I do, how I do it. Some of my clients have been, why a lot of people choose to work with me instead of somebody else. I want you to see that. And one of the challenges for agents, and speaker bureaus have hired me to work with their agents to sell you all. One of the things their agents are always challenged to do is to know who they're talking about. And if there are hundreds of people in a bureau, they don't know us. I don't pretend anybody knows me. But this helps you to, this will help you to introduce yourself to people. And then, as I said, it becomes your script when you're talking about yourself. So I think it's the most important tool in your marketing kit. And then on your website, each section on that one sheet should be a page. And let me just show this real quick. Let me see if this is going to come up. I'll make sure it comes up. I want to show you that I believe this also on websites. This is the above the fold page. When you go on my website, this is what you're going to see when you land on it. I want you to know what you're going to see is this face. You are going to see my company name, and you are going to see my positioning statement. And I'm not asking you to look at a lot of other things, because if this doesn't resonate with you, then you probably should move on. If it does resonate with you, I think you'll dive in, and then you'll choose to explore my services, which is the thing that I like people to click. But at any time, you can go into any of these things and click them. Does that make sense, folks? So above the fold, don't put too much in there. Let people understand what they're getting when they light on that page. And they're either in or out. And I'll tell you, I've had a few iterations of a website over the years. And 2 websites ago, this one is only about 3 or 4 months old. But a couple of websites ago, I hired somebody to drill mine down. I had a website that was so big, so long, I put it in one of those free Google analyzers. And some of the pages that I thought were so informative and speakers would love, they spent milliseconds on. They couldn't wait to get off those pages. And so when I was working, both times when I've been working with my web people, I have said, I want to get rid of all those pages. People are telling me, voting with their eyes on what's important to them. So I'm not going to have 1 million pages, and I'm not going to have you scroll for 30 feet. And these are things that I suggest. You want to be really, you just want to position yourself as easy to work with. Your website positions you as easy to work with or not. Or not. I also want to say, before we get off of positioning statements and core offering sheets, my positioning statement, I am very active on social media. And every platform you go to says the same thing, my positioning statement. Every platform says the same thing. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all of them say Lois Kramer works with speakers, consultants, and experts who want to book more business, make more money, and monetize their message. Consistency. And let me tell you this. Not only does it reassure someone that this is exactly what I do, it's branding. The mere repetition is branding. You know, I think we can make branding very complicated. Don't let it be very complicated to you. It's really good branding to me is me being able to communicate how I want you to see me and what I do. And Christine and I have sent some emails and setting up tonight. And underneath my signature in every email, it says, working with speakers who want to book more business, make more money, and monetize your message. Every email. I am always reinforcing my market positioning. And I want you to do the same thing too. It just gives the buyers confidence in what you're doing. Do we have any questions about positioning statements or one sheets before we move on? All right, I'm going to move on. Yes.
What was they didn't type it back in the chat, but the organizational, so organizations want to increase productivity, profits, and then
Performance.
Yeah, I'll drop that in the chat, Alexi.
sorry about that.
That's all right. Thank you. Thank you. That's perfectly okay. Next thing I want to mention, and you heard me ask Alexi this a minute ago. I am a big believer in target marketing. Big believer in target marketing. And let me tell you why. The only reason to be a believer in target marketing is because it works. Other than that, you know, I talk about when I go to speak at chapters and other events to groups of speakers. I am inevitably approached by someone who will say, Lois, and this happened. Christine, this happened when we were in Scottsdale. Young man came up to me and he said, wow, it's nice to meet you. I've got a great new program on customer service that I'm excited about. And I said, I'm excited about it too. Where do you think it'll make a difference? And he said, anyone who wants to establish a real culture of service will love this program. And I said, sounds good. Let's go call everybody and see if they're interested. Calling everybody is not a good plan. When your market is everybody, you will sit at the desk where you're sitting and you won't do anything because you have no idea where to start. She says from experience. Okay. I got some traction early on when I was doing sales programs and I spoke at every chamber of commerce around my home. And I got some traction in the financial services industry. A bank hired me, a local bank. And my sales stuff worked really well in financial services. And so I asked that bank, what associations do you belong to? And I approached those associations and I said, well, this bank is one of your members. This bank looks like your members. If this bank thought this information was interesting, don't you think all of your members would? Yes, they said. So, for example, in financial services, banks, credit unions, mortgage houses, insurance companies, sweet spots. Now, your target market might be healthcare, it might be retail, it might be agriculture, it might be I don't know, any kind of industry is what I'm looking for. So when you pick a lane, like I picked financial services, you always know who you're a fit for. You always know I'm going to spend my time, the finite amount of time I have to market and sell my business, I'm going to spend it looking for these kinds of opportunities, because every bank, credit union, mortgage house, and insurance company I worked for made the next bank, credit union, mortgage house, and insurance company more interested in me. And here's what I want you to know. Some of the most successful people in speaking right now, and money is not the only barometer of success, okay? But it is one. We have to pay bills. Are people who speak on a specific area of expertise and they apply it in a specific market. So when I was speaking on sales, I had a couple of speaker bureaus who would book me, which was very nice. One of them booked me into St. Louis Convention Hotel here to speak to the International Association of Flag Manufacturers. There's an association for everything, folks. They were happy with the program. I did the program. I came back here and I didn't start looking for other flag making companies. I went back to financial services. Very important. I spoke to the International Association of Ticket Brokers in Vegas. In fact, when the Bureau called me, I said, I need to talk to them to make sure I'm even a fit. And I did, and I was, and they were happy with the program. And I was honored to be invited to do it. But when I came back, I didn't look at ticket broker companies. So when you have a target market, you always have direction on who you should be talking to. Does that make sense? Yeah, Tonya.
Sean has a question he asked before you did all these examples, but I'll ask it anyway. With regards to target marketing, do we have to label them explicitly? For example, if our positioning statement has leaders, is that too blanket, or should we go even more niche?
Well, leaders is not a target market. Leaders is a market segment. Okay. You can work with organizations and leaders. I'll tell you, I want you to Sean, pay attention to this though. Whenever anybody says to me they want in their positioning statement, I work with leaders who want to, or I work with organizations and leaders. I always say, will you work with middle managers? Would your program be a good fit for middle managers? Most of them say yes. I say, what about frontline supervisors? Yes. If that's the case, you're limiting, because most people are going to think executive leadership if you say leaders. You can say, I work with organizations and leaders at every level who want to. That might be a way to go.
Leaders,
but leaders is not a target market to me. Now, when I worked in financial services, I would say I work with organizations in financial services who want to fast forward their selling skills. So I would mention that target market. I just think it makes your life easier if you have a plan, a path. And people will be more open to listening to what you want to do if they feel like you know them. So in financial services, I want people to think, gee, she's got specific area of expertise and has worked with people like us. She knows us. She really knows what our challenges are, what our concerns are. Very important. And let me just say at this point, Christine is also going to share, or Tonya is also going to share, excuse me, at the end of the program, that one sheet template. She's also going to share my pre-programmed questionnaire. And I have to tell you that this changed everything for me. And this changed everything for clients who adopt it. I always have had a pre-programmed questionnaire, questions I would ask when somebody booked me. And I would bring it up after they had already decided to buy me. And I was selling to associations, and associations, corporations and businesses may have one or two decision makers. National level associations have a committee who makes the decision. Very different. A committee, by the way, who you will probably never be able to talk to. They will ask you, they will say, send me your stuff if you want to be considered for national level associations. And when they say stuff, they mean email. And this is what they mean by stuff. For those of you interested, this is also a chapter in my book. Stuff means, first thing, that core offering sheet. High-res photo or two of you that they can use when doing publicity. A bio, no more than 250 words. Make it short. They can get a longer one on your website if they want to. A link to a video if you have a video. Video is important. Video is important. Video is important. Here's what I want you to know about video. More and more organizations are videotaping you now than ever before. So the odds of your being able to get some good video are pretty good as you put yourself out there and you get opportunities. People want to see 3 to 5 minute is kind of my definition of a good speaker preview video. And this probably won't surprise you. My speaker preview video, when I was doing fast forward selling, you saw my logo fly across the screen. You heard my voice say this. My name is Lois Kramer, and I work with organizations that want to fast forward their selling skills so they can be better at what they do. Following are some clips from programs that I recently did. In this first clip, I'm going to share how I blah, 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 blah. Clip, clip, clip. So my positioning statement, I have a template for my video in my book. I've got a whole chapter on it. Let me share this. I worked with a speaker who is a Speaker Hall of Fame member in National Speakers Association. He does very well. And he hired me. He was doing some rebranding and he had 2 employees. So I flew out to California to work with him. I have a 2-day program. I also work hourly, but he did my 2-day program. So I flew out to California. He picked me up at the airport, put my bag in his car. And for 2-day programs, if you've written a book, I read the book. I look at any video you want me to. I look at all your social media. I really know you before we sit down. When you hire me for my 2-day, I don't go, so what do you do? I have ideas before we ever get together. So one of the things he said to me, he shall remain nameless for obvious reasons. He said, what did you think about my preview video? I just spent $25,000 on it. And he looked over at me. We were driving out of the airport, and this was my face. And I knew he wanted to turn around and take me back to the terminal, and he wanted me to go home. And I also knew that this was pretty new. And let me tell you about his video. He spoke for a Fortune 50 company, and it was in the round. Jumbotron, he was on the Jumbotron, professionally videotaped, great audio. I mean, it was incredible. But I told him what I saw when I looked at it were just a bunch of stories that didn't seem connected to me. And he speaks on leadership. This is what he did to fix it. When I left, he went back to the studio, paid $100 to his LA studio, and dubbed over the beginning and said, my name is Joe Smith, and I work with organizations that want leaders who can blah, 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 blah. And suddenly everything that followed was in context. $100 fixed his preview video. When you open with a positioning statement on a preview video, Everything that follows is seen in the context of that. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm not communicating that well, but they're incredibly important. If you don't have one, don't worry. We all need to start from where we are. Don't worry about it. But be collecting any video that you do, and even Zoom video that you're doing, like a presentation like I'm doing tonight. Be collecting it. People, by the way, want to know whether you do virtual events as well as in-person events. You know, COVID just changed everything for us. One of the blessings to come out of it, and there was so much loss, one of the blessings to come out of it was Zoom. It has now given us a whole other platform to be able to share our knowledge. You know, I got news. I wouldn't be speaking very much if I didn't have Zoom, because I'm getting old and cranky. I'm not willing to fly everywhere anymore. But it allows me to sit with you tonight. And it allows us to be able to share our intellectual property. And, you know, the first people on board with video during COVID were corporations. They realized we still need to feed our employees information. We want them to perform. We need to educate. We need to get them together. Engagement. You know, now we're hearing all the time we want to have a meeting because we like the engagement of our employees. That is what was lacking, wasn't it, during COVID? This was the only way we met. Well, now corporations still say Zoom has a place in our meetings, in our meeting planning. They'll still want to have in-person meetings, but they will augment that with Zoom. And let me just share this. The last chapter in my book is called Aftercare. And aftercare is what I describe. What do you do? How do you take a next step with a client after you've presented on the platform? Do you have other things you can do for that client besides give that speech? And I'm going to tell you how I fell into aftercare. It was totally by accident. I shouldn't admit that, but it was totally by accident, everybody. I was talking to a firm that had been considering bringing me in to do a sales program. And they decided we're going to do it. I went in. Well, I think I did a 90-minute sales thing. And after that, you know, people come up and want to talk to you lots of times after you speak. 4 of their sales managers came up all together to talk to me. And I thought that's fascinating. They all wanted to come up together, hear what each one of them had to say, what I had to say. I thought that was interesting. So anyway, I come home and I'm talking to the person who made the decision to hire me. I always do a follow-up thank you call within 48 hours of leaving anyone's platform. Thank you for bringing me in. I've got a chapter of that in my book. I'm not going to go into it, but it's a follow-up thank you call. So I said to this gentleman, and I remember this call like it was yesterday, I said, I thought it was so interesting 4 of your sales managers approached me all together after the event. And it made me wonder, do you think it would make sense for me to work with your sales managers to actually apply the ideas, tactics, and techniques I talked about on the platform? Because if that does make sense, we could do that virtually. You don't have to bring me out to LA. And then he said, that sounds very interesting. What would that look like? I had no idea because I'd never done it before. But I didn't say to him, who knows? I've never done it before. That doesn't breed confidence, folks, when we say that. So you know what I said? I said, I'll have an email on your desk in the morning with some options. Then I went to the right of where I'm sitting right now, where I have a bookcase, and I got out a book, Alan Weiss, $1 Million Consulting. And he believed in offering 3 proposals when you're looking for a consulting package. So I emailed this gentleman the next day with 3 options on what I could do. You know, meeting with the sales managers, coaching call with the sales managers, situational responsiveness, can be anything you want. By the end time I was doing it, I was offering 3 programs, 30, 60, 90 days. Follow-up. That was kind of the way I did it. You do whatever you want. So I sent it to him. 10 minutes after I sent him the email, I got an email back and he said, we want option B, which is the one I really wanted him to take. Option 1 was just have a sales meeting with them, answer questions. Option 3 was, I mean, everything, you can call me if you have a problem. I really didn't want that. But I knew I asked so much for it, I could buy a lot of aspirin if they chose it. And by the way, option B, I made the fee that he paid me to come and do my program that I did on his platform. And then I did something very important. After I got that email, I did this for about 10 minutes. I had a permanent indentation in my head. Why haven't I been doing this? Every time I work for a private client. Never again did I work for a private client without asking them, would you like to take a next step with me? For those of you who work with leaders, Alexa, you would be saying, would you like me to work with your leadership team to actually apply some of the things I talked about today? This has probably made more money for my clients in the last 15 years than anything. So I want you to be thinking, how could I adapt this to my business? Aftercare, it's a great thing. And now, what I want to tell you, I want to talk a minute about negotiating, because everything is a negotiation right now in professional speaking. We are in a time of uncertainty. That's the reality. I've been writing a lot about this. In fact, I got a message from somebody today, one of my followers, and she said, the last 2 blog posts that you sent me, they're all on my website. You can read them at bookmorebusiness.com. But of course, I send them out to people on my mail serve, and I invite you to sign up for my blog, should you so choose. You get a free ebook if you do, bookmorebusiness.com. She said, you're sounding very negative. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And she said, yeah, you don't sound very optimistic at all. And I sent her a message and I said, well, the last few posts I've written have been dealing with uncertainty in the marketplace. Though I think I'm an optimist, I tell you. And I'm pretty optimistic about things, but I think knowledge is power. And I think we need to know what's going on and what we're dealing with before we get to the party. So some of the things I'm writing about are, you've got to make yourself ultimately easy to buy. The lead times are shorter than ever. People are waiting to make decisions. And one of the big things is people are going to push back. You can say my fee is 5 cents and they're going to push back. That's the reality of it. I want my clients to always be prepared for that. The minute somebody says, what's your fee? And you want to give your fee, confidently and expectantly. If they don't say, great, that's a fit, you're in a negotiation. So what I like my clients to do before they discount a fee is, what can I throw in to add value to shore up that fee? So if I've written a book, might I supply books for everyone? Might I do any portion of the aftercare that we just talked about? I'll pull that out and put it in to shore up my fee, so I don't have to discount. So aftercare can be truly aftercare, or you can pull out elements of it in a negotiation. And let me share with you something that some people are doing right now as an added value. And I did this. I spoke at the International Coaching Federation. They have world forums. And I did a live on tape thing, because they have chapters all over the world, live on tape. I said, do you think we could do this if I would offer to do a free hour-long Q&A with anybody who attended my program? If they want to talk about any aspect of what I talked about, I'd be happy to do that. And they said, yes, that would work for us. Now, what am I giving up by doing that? Nothing. It's my expertise. I'm answering questions on my content. Now, what I didn't realize is that there were going to be 4 time zones I needed to do this in. So I'd be sitting here at dark 30 in the morning, but I was happy to do it because I had offered it. But I want you to be thinking, a real speaking business is where you can take your intellectual property and apply it in different ways, be of service in different ways. And I want to tell you that you need to be in the product business. The great news for you is that AI has leveled the playing field for making products. And I'm going to share with you something that I'm doing now. And I want you to think, how could I apply something like this to make this, to monetize this in my business? I'm going to share the screen again. And this is my latest offering. This is just out of the box. This is called Book More Business with AI. And this is what all that is loaded in ChatGPT. All my books, speeches, a lot of consulting hours on Zoom, all loaded into ChatGPT. And this is for professional speakers. How do I create marketing materials? How do I generate RFPs? What kind of social media posts do I want to put around that express my expertise? I just used this myself. I was on a podcast How do I create questions for this specific podcast that will outline what I want to promote by being here? Now, it's all about serving them, but also how can I put myself in the most positive light? What fee should I be charging? Those kinds of things. I'm not going to go into it. But this is what I did. And I want to tell you what started this. What started this was, and I'm not seeing it right now. I'm sorry, I'm not seeing the whole thing. Creating a course around this latest edition of my book. My original book was called Book More Business, Make Money Speaking. This is Make More Money Speaking. And I rewrote this so I would include a little bit on AI in it, licensing, which was very important. I'm not going to have time to talk about it today, but I've written some blogs on it free, or you can read about it in my book. I just told you that video is easier for you to get now than ever because most people are videotaping. What are they doing with that videotaping? It's your job. You're in the intellectual property business. It's your job to protect your intellectual property. And usually our clients, if they're hosting a meeting like this, it's being housed on your server. It's being housed on Christine's server. Christine asked me whether she could record this, and I stipulated the use of this, didn't I, Christine? I told you exactly how you could use this. That's what I always want you to do. And then what my clients do is, and what I did, I always gave people, if they're videotaping a speech, I would say you can have 2 weeks or 30 days, whatever you want it to be, for people to be able to access the recording free. People who couldn't attend the meeting or people who'd want to watch it again, whatever. At the end of 30 days, I'm going to offer a license to you to continue using it. Suddenly, I'm letting them know that I value my intellectual property and they better value it too. If they say no, we don't need it any longer, I'm going to say, please remove it from your server. Now, I'm always asked when I say this, how do you know they've removed it? You don't. But are you going to sue? Probably not. I bet Christine isn't going to get a phone call in 2 years and go, Christine, I'd love to see that video 2 years ago of Lois Kramer when she spoke to us about. Nobody's going to say that. The only way you can for sure manage it is to go buy a black turtleneck, black pants, and a black stocking. Put the stocking hat on and sneak into the business. Find their server, delete it from their server, and sneak out. I'm going to opt for putting in writing, asking them to remove it from my server. And then I'm going to call it marketing. And I'm going to lift it up because I'm not going to worry about it. But I have clients who are getting paid for continuing use of their videos. And I want you to value your intellectual property, and I want you to make money on those tapes. So I think that's incredibly important for you to consider. So my clients actually in an agreement will say, if you plan on recording my program, a separate agreement will apply. And my agreement is very simple. I talk about it in the book. Mostly it's kind of what I told Christine. You can't, nobody can see this outside of your organization. You can't charge anyone to look at it. And typically I have a shelf life for it. I didn't have one for Christine, but I'll say you may use this for 30 days or 60 days or whatever it is. You all can keep it up however long you want it. But you want to stipulate its use. I think this is a professional approach. It says to the client that you value your intellectual property, so they better value it as well. And it also opens the door to more communication with a client. Are you still finding that video helpful? Would you like to license it for 6 months, or would you like to bring me in 6 months and do an updated program? So it gives you more reason to stay in touch and be vulnerable. I think that this is incredibly important, and I want you to value it. There is so much taping going on now that a lot of people aren't paying attention to. I want you to pay attention to it. Funny thing is, when you start paying attention to it, clients start valuing it, and they start investing in the ongoing value of your intellectual property. So it is absolutely something to think about. I want to, do we have any questions, Tonya, that we should be talking about?
You've been wonderful at answering them as we've been going. So thank you.
I love that. I love that. I want to spend a few minutes talking about something I'm going to share with you, a pre-programmed questionnaire. I told you that I started sending, when I marketed to national level associations, and that email with the core offering sheet, with the video, with the photos, with the bio, I would put my pre-programmed questionnaire. And I decided one time just to do that. I hadn't been sharing it. I'd been going over it after they hired me. I sent it, and one of the committee members, usually, if you make a cut, they might interview you. A committee member would interview you. I made a cut, and a guy called me, and he said, we're going to go with you. And I said, I'm thrilled to hear it. What made you decide to go with me? And he said, you were the only one who showed us how much work you did before you ever got here. And again, I was like, oh my God, why haven't I been using this as a marketing piece? So it asks things like, where will the program be? Who's going to pick me up? Logistics, that kind of thing. Yeah, Tonya?
Before you move on, you made a phrase. You said, made the cut. What do you mean by that, the cut?
They might have hundreds and hundreds of people apply to be a speaker at their association meeting. And what this committee does is they will wean down a list for keynotes, breakouts, workshops. So I was being considered for a workshop, and I made the cut. And so they interviewed me. 3 committee members interviewed me, and then before they decided to go with me. And the challenge with national level associations is you can send this email. If you don't make any kind of a cut, you'll never hear anything. If you don't hear anything, you can assume you aren't going to be chosen. You'll hear if they're interested. And if you want to be considered for the next year's annual association meeting, you have to do the same thing over again. They get rid of everything from year to year. Okay. And the person to send information to is the meeting planner, the meeting professional in the association. They are not a decision maker, but they're the person who gets the information to the committee, supplies it. They're kind of the conduit, if you will. But this pre-programmed questionnaire asks, and this is the most important question you can ask anyone who is thinking about hiring. Here it is. Are you ready? What do you want to accomplish by bringing me in? What do you want to accomplish by bringing me in? If I come in and do this program, what will a wildly successful outcome look like for you? That lets the prospect or client know I am all in it for them. And that is my North Star, folks. What they want to accomplish, not what I want to include, but what they want to accomplish by bringing me in. Another question, and that's a question on the pre-program questionnaire. Another question, this was key. Has there been anything that's happened within the last 6 months you'd like me to know about? Well, let me tell you what happened to me one time with this. I was going over this. They'll either write, and by the way, you can put this on a Google Sheet now that's interactive. You don't even have to email back and forth. Just Google Sheets now are interactive. But I was talking my way through this with a client. And he said this. This was 2 weeks before I was going to go and speak to his sales team. He said, you may want to know. And by the way, whenever anybody says you may want to know, you want to know. Okay. He said, you may want to know, we laid off 25% of our sales team last week. Can you imagine if I went in and I did not know that? And I was introduced and I came out going, oh, we just love sales. They would have looked at me like I was an idiot. Because I knew that, when I was introduced, I came out and I said, there has probably never been a time where you have been more nervous about your job than right now. And you're being asked to do more with fewer resources, and you're worried for yourself, your coworkers. And the reason I'm here is because your leaders recognized that, wanted me to come in and help you with selling. Now, when I said that, how do you think I was received? I was received pretty well. And what do you think the leaders thought? I made them look pretty damn good too. But I was only able to do that because I knew what the lay of the land was before I went in. And I knew that because of a pre-programmed questionnaire. So I think that they're really important. I'll tell you another time that was really important. I told you about the Bureau got me this job for the International Association of Ticket Brokers. Okay. The pre-programmed questionnaire said, this is a male-dominated industry. So I did a breakout, 300 people in a breakout room. I go in early. I like to say hi to people. I go in. Here's the lay of the land. 298 men, 1 woman in the front row, and me. Male-dominated. So I was introduced to a smattering of applause. Okay. With probably 70% of the audience with their arms crossed looking. And I knew that I'm not male bashing, but I knew they were thinking, what is this chick going to share with me about selling? And I knew I had to counteract this in some way. So I was introduced. I said, I'll be right with you. I walked off the platform, down some stairs to the front row. Tables were set classroom style. I took a napkin and I dunked it in a pitcher of water and I rang it out very dramatically in front of the one woman besides me who was in the room. And I came back up on the platform and I started dabbing my head in the back of my neck with it. And I said, you'll have to excuse me. I'm having hot flashes. And I bet I have enough estrogen coursing through my veins to counteract all the testosterone looking at me right now with their arms closed. And something happened. People started laughing and applauding. And we were all in this program together. Because I think I addressed the elephant in the room. A pre-programmed questionnaire allows you to do that. It allows you to show up as your best self in service of your best client, which is the one you're going to be in front of. So these are some of the important instruments when looking to sell your speech that really show your clients, that give clients a reason to want to work with you instead of somebody else. And isn't that what it's all about? I mean, when I decided to speak on sales, what I was thinking was, this is what the world needs, another sales speaker. Come on. But my message is unique to me. The things that make you unique are the stories that you tell from the experience that you have had. That's your uniqueness. We have to make sure that we can communicate that to our clients. Yeah, Tonya.
Ralph says that when he talks to the clients beforehand, he asks if the training is mandatory or voluntary. Ralph asks this.
Yes, I ask it differently, Ralph. I say, is this a hostage situation? I have actually asked that. because it does make a difference. And the reality is, if a corporation hires you, it's probably a hostage situation. Regardless, our job is to say, what do you want to accomplish by bringing me on? What would a win look like to you? And to make sure that that's what it looks like when you leave. That's when you start getting the great testimonials. I want you not to be in the business of writing a speech for every organization you work for. I want you to be in the business of tailoring a speech for each organization you work for, depending upon what they tell you they want to accomplish by working with you. And a pre-programmed questionnaire is a great way to do this. Some of this may come in the sales call when you're asking my 10 questions to book more business, which is on that core offering sheet template that you're going to get. It's also a chapter in my book. When you ask these questions in order to ascertain whether you're the right fit. And I'll tell you, everything is about fit these days. And back when, and this isn't up anymore, but my website used to be Fast Forward Selling because I'm not doing it anymore. But on Fast Forward Selling, I actually had a frequently asked questions segment page on there. First question, do you speak for free? Answer, absolutely. I look for 8 to 10 opportunities a year where I may be willing to waive my fee in consideration of value. And if you'd like to apply to be one of them, let me know. This saved me so much time and will save you so much time.
Oh, second, that quote. Wait, it's just excellent.
Well, I don't know whether it's in my book, and that site isn't up, but it's, essentially, you've got the recording of this. Maybe somebody can capture it. The second question, by the way, was, besides sales, what do you speak on? Answer, nothing. If you want something else, I'll refer you, but I won't do it. Sales is my area of expertise, and I got business based on that. So it's about how are we at creating these perceptions with our clients? How confident are they that we can accomplish what they're trying to accomplish? That's what it's all about. And anytime you're not a fit, joyfully let them know that. I might have a referral for you, but that's probably not my best area of expertise. They will think of you, trust me. When you're in their sweet spot, you're going to be the first person they want to work with. We have any other questions?
No, you're doing well covering us.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Megan, please.
Yes, thanks, Lois. I speak on leadership and communication. Is that too much?
I don't know. my answer is I don't know. Is it? And let me ask you this, though, because this is a great question, everyone. Is the communication a program for leaders? Then I don't think it's too much. Because you have a leadership program that covers areas in leadership such as communication.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
I think that's tight when you position it that way. I don't think I would say I speak on leadership and communication. Sure. I speak on leadership, and an area I often address is leaders who communicate well, who need to communicate well.
Thank you.
It's all positioning. And the tighter you can position yourself, the easier it is for that prospect to get their arms around what you do. I mean, I think it all begins with a positioning statement. They're either in or they're out. And then each conversation is going to let you know, each question that you discuss is going to let you know, this seems like a great fit for me, or I need to have more information before I know whether it's a fit for me. Never be afraid to say that either, because people start beginning to trust you as a resource if you say, I need more information to make sure this is the perfect fit for what you want to accomplish. it gives them more confidence to hire you. So pre-programmed questionnaire, I think, is key, and use it as a marketing piece. Don't do what I did and hide it and bring it out after they've already said they'll, give you a check. Bring it out as a marketing piece, because it lets them know this is how I prepare. You'll see all the questions that I ask, just take my name off it, and take any questions that aren't germane to what you do and plug in ones that are more fit for what you do. But you can use any and all of it. Here is a question. I'm looking at the chat right now. You refer your presentations as programs. Let me tell you the reasoning, and thank you for asking this, Laura. And I have a chapter in my book about this. I keep saying that, but it's true. There is great ambiguity in the way keynote, breakout, workshop, seminar, whatever you want to call it, there's great ambiguity in how these things are defined. I call everything programs because I want the client to define it for me. So literally, my clients will say, my programs can run anywhere from an hour to a full day, depending upon what you need. Okay. Let me just give you this quick example. I got a call from a client of mine several months ago. And she said, I've been marketing to this company. They haven't hired me for years. Now they finally want to hire me. I get a voicemail, and this is the voicemail. We want you to come in. We're excited to hire you for our association meeting. We want you to do a 4-hour, highly engaging keynote. And she said, what would you do with that? And I said, I'd throw it right back in their lap. You need to call the person who made this, who left you this message, and say, what do you want to accomplish by bringing me in? Because keynotes are not that long. And you're not going to get, this was 800 people. You're not going to get a highly engaging for 800 people in a keynote type thing. What she did is she called back, found out what they wanted to accomplish, and listen to this. She ended up spending 2 days with them, doing 2 workshops each day, the same workshop, but they platooned people in a workshop format, a 90-minute format. She was able to accomplish what they wanted to accomplish, and it had a high engagement level because there were fewer people in the room. She made more money. She was there for 2 days. They paid her for 4 programs. I use the word programs because it's inclusive language, and it allows people to think of you for whatever, whether they're looking for a keynote or a breakout or a workshop. Let's talk about what you need. And then let me talk about how I can fill that need. Yeah, Christine.
You were talking about the video. I'm going back in another section you talked about the video. Is it attached to your one page on the website? And is it more of you like an introduction video? Is that a video of you speaking, and how long should that be?
It doesn't need to be on your core offering sheet. This would be a hyperlink on your website, or prominently displayed on your website, and a YouTube channel if you have one. A preview video is typically defined as a 3 to 5 minute showing you on the platform speaking. An introduction video, it can be just that. An introduction video can be a talking head, like I'm talking to you right now, and me talking about I came from a corporate background, then got in the speaking industry, and blah, blah, blah. This is what I do. People who are hiring you as a speaker want to see you speak. And in 3 to 5 minutes, they're not going to get a lot of content, Christine. What they're mainly looking for in a preview video, your style, your energy, your confidence. And so you might have in a 3-minute video, you might have a 40-second clip of you telling a short story. You might have a minute telling a story. I cut to a few different clips. I had some great footage from something I did on the main platform at National Speakers Association. It was great footage, but it was all for speakers and not for corporate sales teams. So what I did, because I was dying to use that footage, I used that footage and talked over it.
So you just had the sound down where it was just the video part?
Yes.
How cool is that? Okay.
Yep.
Excellent.
And so be gathering clips, keep clips, and listen, be all about taking your video and chopping it up. Any videos that you have, whether it's something like we're doing tonight, virtual or you're in person, make YouTube shorts. YouTube shorts are the biggest thing right now. People who want hire you for speaking want to see you speaking. And Dr. Jacqueline, this is a great question. She says, what if you do not have stage time? Get stage time. And maybe you need to do chambers of commerce like I did, and I got, they didn't pay me a thing. I got a chicken sandwich in 20 minutes. And sometimes they videotaped it. But you know what I got that was more important than money at that time? I got the economic capital of a testimonial saying, we brought her in and her information was great. When you're starting out and you're looking for stage time, look for opportunities to waive your fee. My speakers don't say speak for free because it gives me a sore throat to say free. I'm willing to waive my fee. And so ask for something. Back when I spoke for the chapter, I asked for a free ad in their monthly newsletter, which they were happy to give me. I asked whether they'd run a couple of my articles on sales. I asked that I could sell books there. So you can ask for, I have something that is probably my most retweeted tweet. Aren't you dying to know my most retweeted tweet? The two things I'm really known for. This retweeted tweet, you risk a yes every time you ask for something. Are you willing to take the risk? And the second thing is my phrase that pays, do you think it would make sense? So we've talked about my program and it sounds like it would be a good fit. Do you think it would make sense for me to send you an agreement? Do you think it would make sense to sign off on this? Do you think it would make sense for everybody in the audience to be able to walk away with the companion book to this program? That's how my clients sell books. We don't sell them in the back of the room. We sell them by the case. We sell them when we sell the program. Would you like everybody to walk away with a copy of my book? A companion book to this program, or a book that will give more information than I have time to give you while I'm here? So be thinking about things like that. But do you think it would make sense? And you're risking nothing by asking. If Tonya has a corporation, what am I risking by asking her for business? I'm already not working for her. So listen, I want to say thank you for having me tonight. What a pleasure. Thanks, Cheryl, for giving them my name. And it was good seeing you, kinda. You're just that big now, Cheryl. You're just, but it was so good being with you. I wish you so much success in speaking. I think you are all so smart to be a part of this group. Get everything you can and run with it. I hope that these instruments that I'm going to leave you, that Tonya's going to put for you to download, I hope they're helpful to you. But thanks for spending your evening with me. I've really enjoyed it, everybody.
Oh, we absolutely loved it. Thank you. I want everybody to please put in the chat real quick the top 2 things that you learned tonight you never knew before. Put 3 as a bonus, and really give the kudos to Lois. This was amazing. She waived this fee and she did it gracefully. And there was so many people that were excited saying, it's Lois Kramer, really? I'm coming. And so I see many of you here. So thank you so very much. My love to Cheryl Rao. Cheryl is the heartbeat behind Superior Speakers and us being who we are and how we do this. And Cheryl, a year ago, we just definitely got together, had our huddle, and we went forth. And Cheryl, look what you've done in 1 year, in a little over a year. Our first year was distinguished, President's Distinguished was our club. And thanks for your always coaching abilities and mentorship. Lois, we definitely will want to have you back. We'll give you some space because you're going to be filled with all kinds of questions, I know, from all of us. But if you can all just blow this chat up with
Thank you so much. And let me tell you, Cheryl is a great resource for you guys. Listen and read everything she writes and listen to everything she says. She's one smart cookie.
Oh, she definitely is. We appreciate it. We are officially done with our first hour and a half because we gave you this much time. So what we do, we'll stop the recording right now. And what I want to do is after stopping that, then I want us to do a linger longer. And that's anybody that has questions or wants to stay on and be able to. Just a minute. Let me stop this for a minute.
I'm happy to stick with you for a little bit if anybody has.
Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted to do.